to the another question of chapter number 1. That's our question number 4, in which they are asking you that we have to calculate the amount of carbon dioxide that could be produced when. Okay, we are going to look into the question later on, but now for just imagine that we are having a piece of paper that is entirely made up of carbon, and if we are burning it, since from the lower classes people we know that for burning any substance we need a gas, that is oxygen. So here carbon is burning, so definitely it is going to burn in the presence of oxygen. So the chemical equation is that carbon in presence of oxygen, when it is going to burn, definitely we all know that the gas which is going to get produced is a gas which we all humans exhale out of our nose, that is carbon dioxide. So the product over here which is going to get formed is carbon dioxide. So this is the reaction which is taking place over here in all these three sub question. So this was the first thing which we wanted to know, just to understand the soul of the question. Now over here I want you to focus on the fact that what is the amount of natural carbon which is present over here, which is going to burn. Okay, so here we can see that carbon is going to burn in presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide. Here before carbon we cannot see any magnitude written over here, or I can simply say that no stoichiometric coefficient is here. It means that 1 mole of carbon in presence of 1 mole oxygen going to produce 1 mole of carbon dioxide gas. Now let's calculate their masses. Okay, so for carbon we know that the atomic mass of carbon is 12, but the molar mass of carbon is having the same magnitude like the atomic mass. So it is 12 gram per mole, which is going to burn with 1 mole of oxygen. Over here you can see a 2 is written. It means that one single oxygen atom is not present. We are talking about one whole oxygen molecule, and one single oxygen atom is having a mass of 16 units, and here we are having two of them, which is dioxygen. So 16 plus 16, simply we can write it as 32. I haven't have wrote it directly just to clarify your doubt. So we are having 32 gram per mole oxygen, and they are going to produce 44 gram per mole of carbon dioxide. 44 gram per mole is the molar mass of carbon dioxide, which I wrote over here directly. So here is a clear picture. We know that 12 grams of carbon is going to burn in presence of 32 gram per mole of oxygen to always produce 44 gram per mole of carbon dioxide gas. Now let's look back into the sub question. In the sub question number 1, here it is said that 1 mole of carbon is burnt in the air. So what we have to find? We have to calculate the amount of carbon dioxide that is produced, that we just have calculated over here. In this question also, only 1 mole of carbon was getting burned. So in the question they have asked that how much mole of carbon dioxide had got produced. We know that on burning 1 mole of carbon over here, 1 mole of CO₂ is going to get produced. So that's our answer. For the second sub question here, they are telling that 1 mole of carbon is getting burned in only presence of 16 gram of dioxygen. Okay, so let's re-examine it. Okay, let's say we are having carbon which is burning in presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide gas. Okay, the mole which are present over here are just 1 mole carbon, 1 mole oxygen, and 1 mole carbon dioxide. Their molar masses are as following: 12 gram per mole carbon is burning in 32 gram per mole of oxygen to always produce 42 gram per mole of carbon dioxide gas. In this question they are telling you, instead of 32 you are having 16 gram per mole oxygen. As we know that 32 gram per mole oxygen is always required to burn 12 gram of carbon. So if they are just going to half the amount of oxygen, so it definitely means the half of amount of carbon is only going to get burned, and only half of amount of carbon dioxide is going to get produced. So automatically our answer becomes here 6, that 6 gram per mole of carbon is going to get required to burn 16 gram per mole of oxygen, or vice versa, we can say 16 gram per mole of oxygen is going to burn 6 gram per mole of carbon in air to produce just 22 gram per mole of carbon dioxide gas. And that's the answer of our second sub question. About the third one, here they are telling you, if we are just going to double the amount of carbon over here, okay, and we are just going to keep the amount of oxygen is just 16 gram, which is just half, how much amount of carbon dioxide is going to produce? Let's cater to this question again, as we are just looking at for the first time. Carbon is burning in presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide gas. Now, what about their molar masses? 12 gram per mole of carbon was burning in 44 gram per mole of I'm sorry, not 44, just a moment, yeah, 32 gram per mole of oxygen to produce 44 gram per mole of carbon dioxide. Now in the question they are telling you that the amount of carbon had got doubled and the amount of oxygen they have just made it half. Okay, so how much carbon dioxide is going to get produced if we are just going to keep the amount of oxygen as half and we are going to just keep the amount of carbon as double? See, the amount of oxygen is 16, so definitely the amount of carbon which is only going to get utilized over here is just 6 grams. In total we are having the amount of carbon over here as 2 multiplied by 12 is 24, but from the 24 gram only 6 grams is going to get utilized. Okay, so the carbon dioxide which is just going to get produced over here is still 22 gram per mole. It is not having going to do anything with the amount of carbon getting doubled, because universally 12 gram of carbon is always going to react with 32 gram of oxygen to always produce 44 gram of carbon dioxide. Okay, so students, the thing which we have learned over here is first of all writing the chemical equation and making it a balanced chemical equation. Here we are having a balanced chemical equation which guides us about the moles of all the reactants over here which are reacting to produce the amount of product. See, as you can see over here that the mole which we have got over here came from the basic equation. So this was the base for the question which we need to understand. I hope you understood the concept, and if you have got any doubt left in your mind from this concept, then please write hello, and after that post that you can write up your doubt and post that in the comment section. I am going to solve it up for you. And if you are having any doubt apart from this question in the YouTube's comment section, you can write it downwards so that I can read that up and prepare a video for you. So students, that was all from your all up from your Professor Bhupesh Daryani. I'm actually tired today. We are going to meet in our next question, and I hope you understood the concept. All the best for your upcoming examination, and I am going to see you soon in our next video. Goodbye.